Welcome, guys, to another episode of the Monarchy podcast. Today, I have Brett Schlacter from Schlacter Law. He's an attorney at law that represents first homeowners in lawsuits against their insurance companies. So, without further ado, Brett, I want to go ahead and give you the room to introduce yourself.
Thank you for having me. This is awesome. I love these platforms to have conversations and talk about what we do. Name is Brett Schlacter, founder of Schlacter Law. We are first and third party litigators, so we represent homeowners for underpayment and unfair denials, both residential and commercial claims. But we also represent individuals in third party claims, either for negligence when somebody's injured or a claim against somebody else's insurance policy for damage caused to properties.
Okay. From these things that you mentioned, Brett, is there any that you think are your specialty? Or do you specialize in all of them?
I say we specialize in insurance law in general, insurance litigation.
Okay. Well, your face is extremely familiar, and I'm sure that some of the viewers will feel the same. Actually, when you reached out to me, I was a little starstruck because I had seen you several times on my Facebook feed, and I was wondering, oh man, and then I saw you. I'm like, holy crap, this guy reached out to me. So how did that come about? Please tell us a little bit about your marketing plan and how that's going for you.
Well, first I want to say I reached out because the podcast is awesome. What you're doing is amazing, and it's a great platform. So congratulations on, everyone says, one day I'll have a podcast, but you actually put it together, and I hear your podcast room is awesome. So
thank you, man. Thank you. The room is pretty awesome. I won't say that the host is that great, but I'm a work in progress.
Well, hopefully after COVID, I'll come see the room. But we have a unique marketing plan. So when people say I saw your face, I always assumed it was going to be because my face was plastered on buses all over Miami-Dade County. And I ran that campaign for about 2 years. And I was very upset when I didn't get one phone call from that very expensive bus campaign.
Yeah.
And then I realized that is more for branding. It's a branding campaign where you need to do a lot of other things, a lot more effort to get the calls to come in, not just put your face on a bus. Lately, we've been doing more digital marketing, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Microsoft Bing ads work really well. But it seems that everybody's doing it. Every time I open my Facebook, Instagram, you see another public adjuster or lawyer saying they can do the exact same thing. So we're taking a unique approach, and I'm trying to use it as a branding tool. So when I meet people in person or via Zoom, they've already seen my face, so it's an easy conversation.
Gotcha. So do you also have marketing experience, or did you hire a team to handle this for you?
So I work with a lot of agencies. And I realized that I was spending a lot of money, but I wasn't getting the results I wanted. So I eventually hired somebody in-house, but a lot has been self-learning through Udemy. It's an online learning platform. I taught myself Google ads and also playing around with Facebook, Instagram ads myself. But we do have an in-house team. But a lot of it comes from just learning yourself and understanding what you need so you can have somebody carry out what you're looking for.
Gotcha. Well,
does Monarch also use Facebook and Instagram as well?
Yes, we do, but we are going through that learning curve now to seeing what works. I understand that there's going to be some time has to go by for things to actually catch on until we target the right groups or whatever it may be. So that's in the point that we're at now. But I'm glad we connected because you seem to be ahead of us. So maybe you can share some tips. Maybe not. Are those the tricks that we talked about, or?
No. I'm happy to share the tricks and tips. I don't know if they're tricks or tips, but it does work for us. I always told the marketing, his name's Alex in my office, to say, every time a public adjuster wakes up in the morning and goes to the bathroom, I want to be the first face they see right after their wife or husband. And that's kind of my mentality, is using it as a branding tool. And Facebook and Instagram are very unique. Sorry if you're getting feedback. Sorry, one second.
It
I'm
sounds
getting on it.
that's fine.
Yeah.
It sounds good on my end.
So it's unique, and you can choose who you want to be in front of. You can go and input contacts, and you can be in front of those people, or you can say, I want to be in front of somebody who searches for home repair on Google. I don't know if you realize, every time you look at something that you want to buy, let's say gym socks, for example, you go on Nike.com or Adidas.com. Every time you open Instagram, you're going to have every single sock you can imagine in your face.
Yeah,
And
100%.
it's the same concept, but just more on a local basis.
Gotcha. And not the worst thing, but the crazy thing is that because you have it in your face so much, you're likely to proceed with the purchase, or with, contacting that person in your case. So I'm glad that it's working out. But you also mentioned that there's a networking group that you're involved with. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Sure. So the most common networking groups are, BNI and those type organizations. They're category exclusive. They're phenomenal. They're great. And any public adjuster or attorney who's trying to grow their practice should absolutely be a part of them and have their, I'm sorry, my wife keeps writing me on Messenger. I'm trying to exit and silence it, but
you better respond, man. I don't want to be the reason why you get in trouble.
She's a lawyer also, so I want to be careful. So BNI is amazing because you're in a room once a week with different professions, and the whole point is to pass each other business and make each other money. I was a member for a while. I did very well in the group and decided that, I want to start something on my own similar. So I brought together 10 of my closest business acquaintances who I already do business with. So it's not like anything crazy, and said, we're just going to meet every week and talk about how we can make each other more money, make strategic introductions and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
And we started with 10 people, and now we're at about 125, hoping to be at 200 very, very soon, Q1 of next year. Started with one group. It was in person. Now we have 8 groups, and it's all category exclusive. So once COVID hit, we couldn't meet in person. We moved virtual, and that's when the group started really picking up, because all you need to do is hop in the shower, sit on your kitchen table, log on at 7:15 a.m., network with like-minded individuals, get pumped up after the meeting. And for a public adjuster who's trying to grow their territory or grow the amount of people they work with, these groups are great. Not because you're going to get so many direct referrals, right? You may get referrals in the people in the group, but if you want to meet that one busy roofer, somebody in that group may have a more than a professional relationship. They may be friends. And that warm introduction in our industry means more than anything.
I agree.
It's better than just knocking on a door and say, hey, I'm a public adjuster or lawyer. I want to do business with you. It's you have somebody, inviting you in. So it's been great in that respect. And accountability.
Correct. It's somebody that it's not the same thing, like you said, somebody knocking on your door than a friend saying, hey, I recommend this person to do this job for you. That person already comes vetted, so that person has a lot more value than just a stranger would. I agree 100%. Up until recently, I didn't know the value of having a network. I'm not involved with any networking groups, but before COVID, I got involved with attending more networking events and meeting more people, just because, we do have a great work stream or stream of claims, constant stream.
You have 21 adjusters now, no?
Yeah.
Amazing.
But I think we can do more. We could, to get to those large claims, those commercial claims, it's not something that we could just show up and be like, hey, I'm the best, which is true. We are the best. But if I have somebody that knows somebody in that association, I'm more likely to get that job. So I'm glad we're having this conversation, because networking is something that I want to start implementing into my business strategy more. So hopefully in person, as soon as, things with COVID subside.
So three things that you just mentioned that are absolutely true. One, that those large commercial losses. So for example, in the group, we have a condo lawyer. That
Okay,
condo lawyer is going to know the president of the board.
exactly.
So that's a way in. Two, if you do business with anyone in the group, you have the accountability of seeing that person each week. You're going to get great service.
Yeah,
And three, as entrepreneurs, because every public adjuster is entrepreneurial in nature, you have to sell, you have to find claims.
yeah.
You have the opportunity to um, professionally expand. I met in one of the groups a commercial broker who happens to be my best friend now, and him and I just did a real estate transaction together. I never would have imagined being able to do that, have the time to find the opportunity, but that partnership led to finding an amazing deal and closing the deal. So
It was a
it's
warehouse, right? A large,
yeah,
what's it called? Not one warehouse. It was like a complex of warehouses, right?
yeah, it's a small bay warehouse complex in Palm Beach.
Gotcha.
Um, but
That's
you have the
amazing.
opportunity to meet. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. You have the opportunity to meet so many interesting people, and that's what FBL is about. But my main business is not running a networking organization. It's getting homeowners, helping homeowners get paid only when public adjusters in a small amount of claims that public adjusters can't resolve. They're unfairly denied or underpaid. That's where we come in. And a lot of attorneys say, hey, we want the claims directly. Don't go to a public adjuster, come to us. But the truth is that the public adjusters are really the only individuals trained to adjust your claim.
Yeah.
So what you're getting most of the time, if an attorney says that, is some random adjuster drafting an estimate who doesn't really have an interest in your claim other than getting paid that fee for drafting an estimate. So I'm a strong believer in public adjusters first, lawyers only if the case can't get resolved. Because once a lawyer gets involved, it's definitely going to be more time.
Yeah.
You should only resort to litigation if you absolutely need to.
Brett, I wish I had a bell here because just yesterday, the guys and I were trying to capture just what you just beautifully, stated. I couldn't put it in those terms, but we are going to make a clip of this and post it because I think a lot of people undervalue the value of a public adjuster, and they don't realize that that we too are essential to the claim process. And like you said, I'm 100% in agreement that attorneys are essential as well. But when needed, there is a time and place for an attorney to come in and do something that nobody else can, which is litigate the claim or push it beyond that point of no resolution in a sense. So
And there's
thank
no
you for
shortage, of course, and there's no shortage of claims to be litigated. Let's be honest.
You guys are killing it.
In the current climate right now, claims
Yeah.
are being delayed, underpaid. It's rampant, and the amount of claims that have to go to litigation now is much higher than it's been in years past.
Correct. I think when, and correct me if I'm wrong, maybe I'm overstepping here, but when an attorney gets involved pre-litigation, so and from the beginning, from the inception of a claim, does the attorney typically charge a contingency fee for the pre-litigation stage? Because some people are under the impression that they don't pay the attorney out of pocket at all if they invoke him or if they bring him on board from the beginning.
So
if it's a tough one,
I'm here to answer tough questions. It depends on the firm, it depends on the attorney, and it depends on the situation. So if we're talking about a really large commercial loss, the attorney comes in, has to hire engineers and experts. We have a large commercial loss in Palm Beach we're working with now.
Okay.
Just the estimate alone is $35,000 plus the engineers plus. If we settle that case in a pre-suit mediation, we will take a fee. And it generally could be anywhere from 5 to 10% of the claim, which is reasonable.
Okay.
If it's a small residential claim and you have to sit in on an EUO, and after the EUO, they pay the full claim and the public adjuster can settle it, our firm chooses not to charge a fee. Some firms may charge a fee.
Yeah.
It really depends on the amount of work and the money spent on by the firm. But traditionally, the attorney should do the right thing and put the homeowner's interest before their own.
Correct.
It's like the undisputed amounts. If it's very, very small, and these are claims that we have, on our own that don't have a public adjuster, very
Yeah,
few of them, we don't, take a percentage on the undisputed. But sometimes we do. It all depends on the situation.
I hear you. I hear you. And then I think another benefit of having even if at some point an attorney needs to be involved, another benefit of having a public adjuster involved as well is that for the pre-litigation stage, the PA is going to be fully invested in your claim versus, and again, correct me if I'm wrong here, but if an attorney, or in some cases, when an attorney gets involved from the beginning, they will outsource the estimate to somebody who really doesn't have an interest, so it's not likely to write as solid of an estimate as a PA would, who wants the highest recovery for their client. Is that correct, or what do you think?
100%. 100%. I mean,
Okay.
there are some claims that are really high value that an attorney will get involved from the beginning, and you hire a firm and you pay them more than the traditional $400 for estimate, whatever the attorneys are paying their
Yeah.
estimators. Is a different story, but 99.9% of the time, I would much rather have a public adjuster who has a vested interest in the file, on the file.
Okay. Thank you.
And that's why we recommend to our clients that come to us directly, you probably should have a public adjuster on the file because of the reasons we discussed. Obviously, there's a lot of different scenarios, but I'm a huge fan of public adjusters.
Gotcha. And I want to circle back here for a quick moment, because I want to ask you something about the networking group that you have or that you're involved with. Do you guys also wake up super early on a Friday morning, to meet like 7, 8, 9, or
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. All right.
So because I'm the founder, I'm a member of all the groups, but I wake up super early on Friday. Well, 7 is not super early.
Well, see, I don't know about you, but I'm a night owl. I can work until 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, but for some reason, waking up early, it's a struggle for me. I think if you were to ever invite me to one of your groups, it's something that I would definitely consider. But I just
Friday morning at 7 a.m.
Why? We'll discuss after that.
I have a book recommendation for you. It's called The 5 a.m. Club by Robin Sharma. It's amazing. You'll really enjoy it.
I think I've
you
heard
don't have
of
to
it.
wake up early. You don't have to wake up early, but just the little snippets and gold nuggets in that book are amazing.
Okay. Sounds good. And why is that though? Why do you guys typically, not you guys, but networking groups in general, choose to do it at those times on a Friday? Is there a specific reason?
I think because you can't really do it in the middle of the day. Busy entrepreneurs don't have a second to sometimes even get lunch. So once the day starts, there's no shot of bringing people together, at least consistently. And then nighttime, if someone has a family, most people dedicate that time to family, or some people family time, then work, or they're too tired. So I guess a logical choice is wake up early and network.
Gotcha.
Start the day off right.
And that makes 100% sense. All right, let's get back to the claim stuff. Since COVID hit, or since the lockdown, at least on our side, we've noticed that many more claims have been denied and less claims are settling. Can you tell us why you think that is?
So I think there's a lot of reasons. We could first start with the elephant in the room. If they're late reported IRMA claims, depending on the carrier, I mean, pretty much all the carriers are just denying them outright. They have their own internal process. I've seen some denials with no field adjusters. The 90 days are getting blown on, say 75% of the cases.
Yeah.
People are not taking those cases very seriously. Although we have won most, if not actually all of the summary judgments that strike that. I'll restate it. I to be more eloquent. We have won all the summary judgments on the prejudice issue. So the prejudice issue is the insurance company saying, because you reported this claim X number of days after the hurricane, pursuant to your policy of insurance, we were prejudiced in our ability to investigate this claim because you didn't give us prompt notice. We're not going to cover it.
Yeah.
And most of these claims go to summary judgment, and you ask the major questions in deposition. Where in the policy does it state that X number of days is prejudicial, right?
Yeah.
Then you bring up the statute that says, well, the statute says you have 3 years to report the claim. Why all of a sudden the insurance company is taking the position that you can't report it after 2 years?
Exactly.
And usually when the questions are asked of the field adjusters and the corporate reps, how were you prejudiced in your investigation? They have no idea. They read off a script. They say, would you have done anything differently if you were called out the day after the hurricane? Well, probably not.
Yeah.
So it's like, so how are you prejudiced? I don't know. So a lot of those claims will resolve, like a lot of the citizens claims that they deny, they go to summary judgment and then they're resolved right after.
Yeah.
Because usually that's their only affirmative defense. We were prejudiced. Doesn't matter that it's clear that there was hurricane damage on the roof, but you reported it too late.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of carriers blowing the 90-day rule on non-prejudice cases. And we think because the insurance companies are in a really bad financial position, if you look at the stock price of, and we like Federated National, we think FedNat's a great insurance company. They pay well in most situations, but their stock price is really low. Universal is having a really difficult time now, I believe, because Universal and litigation, they used to ship everything to outside firms. Now everything is in-house, mostly what we're seeing. And they just delay, deny, defend, delay, deny, defend. However,
in our cases, in many of our cases, they are sending a request for information letter on the 89th day of the claim being open without a desk examiner being assigned or a field adjuster or no inspections, nothing. Radio silence until the 89th day. We get that letter and they expect us to respond at that point. So I feel the pain of defend, deny, and just delay.
Another thing that they're doing up north for a lot of the claims we're seeing, they're sending a check to the homeowner with no estimate. They have no idea what they're paying for. They're just sending a check. And a lot of the homeowners who are not educated on what a public adjuster can do, taking that check and say, oh, my insurance company's so great. They paid me $500. They may have a $50,000 claim.
Yeah.
And they, fix the damage, they mask it, they paint over it, and they don't even make a claim.
Exactly. That's so unfortunate, Matt. And I'm gonna cut this. I'm gonna do a snippet of this as well, because if I can reach as many people as I possibly can with this, and they can hear this and not make that mistake, it would really be great. So I'm glad you mentioned it.
For sure. And then another excuse, obviously there's tons of bad faith going on right now.
Yeah.
And what everyone needs to understand is to actually get a bad faith judgment and is very difficult. It's very hard, especially in light of the court closures, and people have to understand it's a two-part case. You have to win the breach of contract, take it all the way to trial, and then you have to go forward on the bad faith case.
Correct.
Not saying it's impossible. The civil remedy notice has to be filed to preserve the ability to move for bad faith and to, pressure the insurance companies. But, just blowing the 90-day rule now is kind of common. No, what are you seeing on your end?
Same thing. They're 90 days. It's they think they have a whole year to adjust the claim. So the courts being closed, I'm assuming that's also causing a delay in the turnaround of. No,
not for us.
Okay. Do you mind sharing why
Of
not
course.
for you guys?
So traditionally, very few of these cases are actually tried. We are prepared to try these cases. All of our attorneys are trial lawyers. We always joke around with defense attorneys saying, this is the case we're going to try this year. And they all laugh because none of these cases ever go to trial. So very few cases are actually tried. But what do we have now that we never had before in the legal profession? We have the ability to take Zoom depositions. We have the ability to get in front of the judge on issues we wouldn't typically fight on because we don't want to drive an hour to the courthouse, pay $50 for parking, wait in a congested room for 2 hours to be heard on a 5-minute motion to then drive back. Now it takes 15 minutes. We log on in the office. We can do 3-4 hearings a day and still be able to take a deposition. So the amount of work a plaintiff attorney can do now is unbelievable compared to where we were before. And if a plaintiff's attorney is putting this kind of pressure on a defense attorney, we ask for depositions. They say, all right, we're available in May. I say, no, you're going to give us deposition dates in the next 60 days. Yeah. They say no. We say, okay, we'll go in front of the judge. Judges, I find in Miami-Dade, are pro-plaintiff.
Yeah.
So they're going to grant us 60 days. And if you keep doing that, the insurance companies will know, let's just get Schlacter and his attorneys away from us. Let's settle quicker. So for us, we're able to expedite cases.
Gotcha. That's a great point. And now, as you were speaking, I'm thinking, I'm gonna piss off a bunch of the attorneys that we work with because
Let me tell you how to check on them. Let me tell you how to check on them.
Yeah, tell me how to check on them, please.
I'm not trying to sell anyone out on this podcast, but you know the common. When a public adjuster say, hey, what's going on in this case? The common response is, we're in discovery. I'm sure you heard that before.
Oh, tons of times. Yeah. All the time, actually.
Yeah. Well, off this podcast, I could talk to you about other questions to ask to see if somebody's really pushing the file, because at the end of the day, damage only gets worse. And if the attorneys are not following up consistently for money, the insurance attorneys have no reason to pay you. The insurance attorneys, if it's not in-house, if it's one of these like Quinteros or Rumberger, all these defense firms, they make money by sitting on files. So why would they want to settle with us?
Exactly. So you guys, you guys got to keep the pressure on, right? In other words. So, I mean, typically what we would do is if we doubt that an attorney is not pressing as much as we would like, we would check the docket. So, but I'm assuming you have other checks.
You already know. Yeah. Most people don't know they can check the docket, but understanding what's on the docket and things that could be done that are atypical to push a case along is the cheat sheet I'm going to give you.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to hold you to that. And I have it on video, so you can't back down.
Yeah. And they're probably some of your followers and like, who is this guy? I'm hungry. Sure. What can I say? I'm hungry for business. And if I can show people that COVID is no excuse to push cases forward, you still got to get the job done.
Yeah, man.
No matter what.
I think you and I have similar what's it called? Like, fucking went blank.
Mentalities.
Yeah. Mentalities when it comes to.
I should be asking you questions because I mean, you have 21 adjusters, working for you. I can count on one hand how many firms have, retained that many quality adjusters. So congratulations to you.
Thank you. You'll get a chance now to drill me as much as you want with questions. So, but I think you and I have similar mentalities in the sense that we like to get things done, right? I'm not the type where, to me, quality is over anything else. I'd rather have 100 amazing cases and push them quickly than have 1,000 that I'm not paying attention to and that are settling for, a fraction of what they're actually worth. So, and I think that's basically what you said with your business model. You like to move them quick and right. And you do a good job, and that's how you get more work. Is that correct?
That's how we get more. That's exactly how we get more work. And a lot of lawyers have a different mentality. The longer they hold on to the files, the more they can ask for in fees.
Yeah.
But that's a huge headache as a business model, because not only are you going to piss off public adjusters that you work with that rely on your professionalism and moving cases quickly, but homeowners' homes are just going to get worse.
Yeah.
I'm not going to name the firm, but I recently adopted a case that It was filed in 2014, and the case was still in litigation. And I didn't really know what to tell him. I said, I'm going to take it on and I'm going to get this done for you. But it's 6 years of like, I don't understand what was going on in those 6 years.
And when you saw it, I mean, was it something that could have been resolved in a lot less time?
A typical case can get to a jury trial, and if it's long, 2.5 years, it should get there much quicker. But 6 years, I mean, it's, and a lot of big firms go through this. They have immense growth, and they just don't know how to handle the growth.
Yeah, I agree. And then what's worse is, and what I want to point out is that the person that's mostly affected by this is the homeowner, the insured. So I think when you wrap your business model around your client and focus on them, just it's a different dynamic. Just put the client first, and everything else kind of just works itself out as far as growing a business goes. I think that's my motto in a way, to always put the client first. You seem to do that as well, or to be of that mindset.
For sure, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's because if you worry about yourself, it's short-sighted. I mean, every lawyer is going to tell you that they put the clients first. I mean, that's what everyone's slogan is.
Yeah.
But the proof is in action, right? How
Correct.
quickly you get claims resolved for, and situations where it's a really bad claim, you get a really nice global resolution. And will the attorney cut his fees and do the right thing so the homeowner can actually get back on their feet? And firms should look to help clients out as much as they can, because it's going to be paid back in dividends 10 times.
And honestly, I don't think that lawyers should cut back their fees. I think that if you're working for something, why should you have to cut your fees? You're putting in the work. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Because I know a lot of attorneys do that, where in order to get it done, sometimes they cut their fees. What are your thoughts on that?
It really depends. We're talking a lot on first party. I mean, we do a lot of fee cutting on the third party side as well, because there's a lot more. It's a lot more arbitrary when you're talking about pain and suffering and things like that on a negligence suit. If we reduce our fees from 40% in litigation to 33%, because the client has a number in their head. Usually when a client has a number, it's really hard to get that number out of their head.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a numbers game. If you're in a practice and you're handling thousands of claims throughout your career, you're going to have some where if you reduce your fees and make a client happy, it's just part of the business model. I don't like reducing my fees. I think that we deserve every penny that we make. And we also have tremendous overhead. Lawyers aren't cheap. Staff is, especially now. I mean, it's hard. Once you have good talent, you need to hold on to them, and you know that more than anyone.
Yeah.
So if you have to reduce your fees here and there, you reduce it. But I agree with you. I mean, if we cannot reduce, yeah, that's the best. But if we have to, we will.
I hear you, man. All right, so I'm at your disposal now. You can go ahead and shoot your questions, whatever you had in mind that you wanted to discuss about me.
How long have you been a public adjuster?
Since 2016.
So you've been a public adjuster for 4 years?
Yes.
And you are the CEO. I sound like I'm cross-examining you. I'm amazed, because I do work with a lot of public adjusters, and I see a lot of firms out there. And you've grown in 4 years. You have 21 adjusters.
Correct.
Without giving me the secret sauce, because I'm sure everyone wants to know what it is, because that's immense growth. How did you grow so fast? What is it that made your company grow so fast when everyone else is having trouble keeping public adjusters? After they're an apprentice, they learn everything from you and they run away. How are you able to keep such a high quality team of public adjusters and professionals? such a short period of time?
What gets them to me, I don't know, man. I think just the way that that I am makes people gravitate towards me. Just I have a very positive outlook in life, and I'm very ambitious, and I never give up. And those qualities, I think, that are qualities that people like to be around. How it started was, I worked for the carrier since for 8 years before becoming a public adjuster as an independent adjuster. So in 2016, I went ahead and said, I'm doing it. I did it. And how I started was by bringing my closest group of friends into the business. So then their friends came, and then their friends' friends came. And that's basically, now we're just a really big family, man. I don't know what it is. I besides the fact that I can say that I'm really good at what I am, not because of what I know, but because of my relentless nature to never give up. I can't think of anything else that would draw them to me besides just always, pushing forward. So
obviously contracts are important, but it has to be more than just contracts to keep so many adjusters working with the Monarch team. So you must have an amazing company culture, and the adjusters must have an amazing ability to make a lot of money working for Monarch. And is there something to say about just like promoting your people, like, and wanting your people to do well within your company?
of course, man, I think, look, I tell everybody, your success is a reflection my success is a reflection of your success. So if you succeed, that means I've succeeded as a leader. And if you fail, that means I've failed. So I'm fully invested in everyone here equally. I take that personal. Not only, I don't only want to make sure that I cater to my clients, but I also want to make sure that I cater to the people that are with me, and that they grow with the company. And that, I don't know, it brings me so much satisfaction to see somebody going from nothing to something. I don't know. It makes me feel really good. I don't know if I answered your question. I just got a little bit into my thoughts.
No, that explains why you guys are successful.
Yeah. We have our ups and downs, and nothing's perfect. But I think the set of values that we operate on are essential, and our core values are essential, and they're the right ones to keep everybody together and motivated and always wanting more and pushing forward.
Awesome. That's great.
Thank you. So that's basically it, man. And we have a bunch of apprentices. We have PAs that are learning. They all have access to me directly. I have supervising PAs that at this point are as good as I am. Everybody has different tricks. Everybody shares knowledge here. Nobody's secretive about what they know. It just works. It's good. It works in here.
For sure. And I'm happy to talk with you about plugging some of your PAs, or if you want to join into the networking organization for business leaders.
Definitely,
there's
man.
a lot of, and I don't try to get claims from those groups. That's not my purpose. Because then I'd be kind of overstepping the public adjusters. My purpose is just to be a resource and a litigator. And that goes back to my original point, is I believe strongly that the public adjusters are the best first and hopefully last step in getting your claim resolved without having to file a lawsuit.
Yeah.
And I really believe, but the right public adjuster.
Correct. And it's like finding a needle in a haystack, at least down in South Florida. I think we have so many clients that have worked with other PAs that come to us, and they're so disappointed and have such a bad impression or image of public adjusters. It's kind of like realtors. It's really hard to find the good one, right? In the same way. When you find one, make sure to hold on to them, in a sense. But let me ask you, if let's say we wanted to start working with you or one of my PAs, would you take our claims?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so what happens is a lot of firms blow up and they get big, and we had tremendous growth after Irma. But one thing I maintain was, if any question on a claim is asked to my firm, it better be answered, not within days, but within hours or minutes. So I think it's important, if an adjuster calls me up, hey, so and so is calling, even though we call clients every 15 to 20 days like clockwork because it's a requirement. But who do they call first? They call the public adjuster always. I
Correct.
better have an answer immediately. So I remain in contact via WhatsApp, and all the attorneys who work here give their personal cells out and are available. So, I mean, absolutely, I'd love to work with you.
Excellent, man. We'll keep it in mind. I mean, we can talk about it after we're done with this meeting here.
No, for sure.
So,
but let me ask you a couple
Yes.
more questions, because
Go ahead.
I feel like a lot of your guests didn't ask you enough questions, and I want to learn from you as well, because you've built a phenomenal business. How big is your marketing team? So let me preface it with saying, when I first contacted you and spoke with your team, I think you have 5-10 people just in the marketing team, because of your branding, because of just how the podcast was set up and how seamless it was. So how big is your marketing team?
Right now is 4 individuals. Well, everybody does a little bit of everything, but I have key people in key positions. Like I have 2 guys that do video editing. They're amazing, and they also throw ideas, and they don't just edit. They come up with things that we can do that can be interesting.
In-house?
So,
They're in-house?
Yes. In-house. I have a digital media coordinator, Javier. He's also amazing, very creative, very knowledgeable. He's the one that's kind of fine-tuned the logos and just how everything looks like that. I want to say
Got damage.
This Got Damage is old. He has touched it up a bit, but he has given that high-end feel to the brand. So I'm grateful for that. And Jazz joined us recently. She's Javier's assistant. So now the team is relatively young, the marketing team, and we're kind of just, figuring each other out, because I will say, and I will admit to this, I'm super demanding, and I'm a perfectionist. So I give them Pat is smiling over there. I give them a very, very hard time. I like everything to be as close to perfection as possible, which that can sometimes bite me in the ass, but that's just who I am. And I want things done the right way. And yeah, I'm a pain in the ass to work with, but they're great. So right now we're just kind of figuring each other out. And I think in the next few months, we'll probably blow it out of the water. So as far as branding.
How big do you want to get in 2021? Like, do you have a goal in mind?
I have a goal in mind. Yes, we plan to, by the end of 2021, expand into 5 other states. So we are already in Louisiana. Texas will be next, and that is part of our vision to get into those states. At least have one adjuster in each of those states, permanent resident in each one of those states by the end of 2021. So.
Beautiful.
Yeah, man.
So
yeah.
we'll do a follow-up podcast at the end of 2021 to see how many states are up and running. Hopefully it's more than 5.
I hope so. I don't want to bite too much more than I can chew, but I think it's possible, and I like to work hard. And when I set a goal, I kind of just stick to it. Maybe 2020, the beginning of 2022, who knows? But
say 21, and then if it goes into 22, it won't be that big of a deal.
Yeah. It has to be in line with my ultimate not life goal, but I have a goal in mind, and it's by a certain age, and it's in dollars, and I hope to get there. I won't share that because
we'll talk about it after.
Yeah, we could talk about it after.
I'll tell you mine.
Okay, sounds good. What else you got for me?
Uh, how important is it? So a lot of people are, I always wanted to be a podcast host, so it's good practice.
Yeah.
Uh, so a lot of public adjusters probably look up to you because you've built a big business, and a lot of adjusters want that. How important is your software and your processes um, in growing your practice?
So we do use one of those softwares. I'd rather not say which one. We could discuss it later if you want.
Yeah, of course, of course.
But I think that it's of utmost importance to maintain structure and to maintain organized. When you have one or two claims, it's not a big deal. But when each adjuster has 100, 200 claims, that's volume. And the only way to keep all that organized is using one of those softwares. So process, as we have grown, has certainly become more and more important. And we're not that big. We have a lot of adjusters, but we don't, in comparison to the volume, we're not handling that much volume in comparison to, I don't know, other bigger other PA firms. I don't want to say which ones.
Quality over quantity. Quality over quantity.
Yeah. Can we? Yes, we do have so one of our greatest attributes is our ability to adapt and to not shift. Here we go again. You cut this piece out. Pivot quickly and adapt. So, we're able to accommodate whatever amount of claim comes our way because we adjust quickly. If we need to hire more people, we do it quickly. Whatever we need, we'll make it so that the quality is never lost. So that's, I think, one of the reasons why we've been able to be successful. A lot of people tend to get overwhelmed with, oh my God, too much going on. But that's not how we operate. We make it work. We either hire, we work more hours, whatever we need to do so that we always maintain the quality. So
one thing you can do interesting, I don't know if you do this. I don't think it's necessarily secret sauce because maybe one person will listen and actually do this from your listeners because anyways,
throw it out there.
When you aggregate all of your contacts, you can use Facebook and Instagram it has to be sexy content, and you already got the team. So their wheels should be spinning already on what they can do, but you should blast them, follow them around on branding content. It's branding versus lead gen. Lead gen is, hey, let me come free inspection. Let me go into your house and see if you have a claim. And then branding is, maybe you don't need me now, but I want to be fresh in your mind type of thing. So
correct.
You can use all of the contacts you have. And because you do such a good job, you're going to be in front of those people every time they go pee in the morning.
Yeah.
And what you could do is something called a lookalike audience on Facebook and Instagram. And using Facebook's and Instagram's tools, they can find people exactly like people that you've already represented who likely will need your services and target them with the same ads as well.
Gotcha.
So that's been really great for us. We constantly target our old clients, so we're constantly in their face. If they ever need anything, they know who to call.
Yeah. I want to say that we're doing something similar, but I don't think we've struck that client base. Maybe we need to keep tweaking it until we hit the right client base. I got to check with Javi to make sure that we're already doing that.
But it won't be I don't think you see like claims like flying in. It's more so the long game.
Gotcha.
In the next 5 years, you're in front of those people all the time, and the cost is not that expensive for those types of campaigns because it's much less. But if you're doing it already, you're ahead of 99.9% of everyone else.
Thank you, man. Thank you. And our approach is a little different. We don't, like you said, we're not trying to sell our services. I rather part of our mission is to educate and to bring awareness to public adjusters and what we do. And by doing that, a lot of times we get business we get new claims just by, like you said, being in people's faces and them seeing who we are. But I'm not trying to sell you something. I'm just showing you the way. Now you contact me because you trust me, because I gave you valuable information. So that's more of our approach, rather than, hey, have a leak, call me, free inspection. I don't want to do what everybody else is doing. So
No, it makes sense.
yeah.
Provide value first, right?
Correct.
Like,
100%.
I know you guys do free policy reviews, because I watched in one of your other podcasts that you talked about that how you without making any money, you review other people's policies to make sure that they, in case they do need you, if a storm hits, they still have time to change their policy and either get a new broker or get a new policy before the storm hits, and they're stuck with like a Citizens or a People's cap, or have
100%.
those. I don't want rapid response in my house.
Oh, hell no. Please. Away. Which, by the way, I don't know if it's an end of the year thing, but we're overturning a few of those denials, and ones that they had said that they would do the repairs on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. Of several ones that they had said that they would do repairs on, we're negotiating now to try to get them resolved. But yeah, and interestingly enough, even though I promote the whole policy review thing a lot, or as much as I can, I don't get that many calls. I don't get that many messages. It goes back to it being an issue of people not realizing the importance of insurance, of having the right insurance until something happens.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to bridge that, gap of knowledge, where, people should have more awareness as in reference to regarding their insurance and their coverages. So
I was speaking to a good friend of mine, and he has a very large insurance brokerage company locally, one of the largest. And he was telling me how hard it is right now to even write policies in South Florida.
I've heard.
So sometimes you're stuck with getting a Citizens policy with a 10K water cap, or you're stuck with a People's Trust policy just because you can't get anything else. And it's getting very difficult to actually get in for a reasonable price insurance in South Florida.
No, and I agree. I mean, if you don't have a choice, you have to be insured, right? But I think that even then, you should at least know what you have, because most people with those policies don't know that they have a cap. They don't know that People's Trust likes to do the repairs themselves. They don't know that when People's Trust does the repairs, that they typically don't do a great job. So these are things that people should know, even if their only choice is People's Trust or Citizens, or whichever other companies it may be. So guys, text me. Let me see. I don't remember let me do a little infomercial here real quick. What's the number, man? I gotta memorize it. Hold on. All right. Yes, for the viewers, Brett has brought awareness to a big issue and something that we offer for free, which is policy reviews at no cost to you and no strings attached. Now it's easier to get it done, easier than ever. You could text me directly. I will be the person answering that text, I promise you. I'll even send you a picture if you want. 786-232-9312. 786-232-9312. Text me with your policy questions, questions about damages, coverages, whatever you need. As long as it has to do with homeowners or business or with property insurance in general, I got you. All right.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
I think everyone loves and prefers text now. It's super easy. At least with our practice management software, everyone texts.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well, that's interestingly enough. I saw that we were talking about Gary Vee before we jumped on, and he does the whole texting thing. So I'm like, let me try this out with insurance. So here we are trying it out and see what happens.
Is that your cell phone number, or it's a separate text number?
It's a separate, but it does go to my cell phone. I get it as a text. So
you use Twilio?
Simple text, simple
Simple
texting.
text.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, man. So Brett,
So what do you like to
yeah,
do besides kick butt on claims? I don't know if we can curse on your podcast. We'll say kick ass, but
you can do whatever you want. You're good. Uh, what do I like to do? I love to travel. I love traveling. I'm a pretty laid back guy. I'm just hanging out with my friends. Now I've taken up mountain biking on the weekends. So what about you? What do you like to do besides kicking
kicking ass in court.
in litigation? Yeah, in court.
Travel and backcountry skiing.
Oh yeah.
I mountain bike as well, but um, skiing is my release. It's
Well,
where
excuse my ignorance, but what is backcountry skiing specifically?
so any skiing where well, there's a lot of different interpretations, but I think it's any skiing that's not groomed terrain. So generally it's more out west skiing, Utah, Wyoming, Colorado. It's off piste, meaning like off the groom runs.
Okay.
And I'm still trying. I went helicopter skiing 3 years ago with my best friend in New York, trying to get back out to do one of those trips in the next couple of years.
Helicopter skiing is when they drop you at the top of the mountain and you just go.
So that's the perception. They're not dropping you out of the helicopter. So these are really, high. Uh, they really make sure, because you're in avalanche prone terrain, they really make sure to take all the precautions. So it's actually very, very safe. You're with two guides. Usually they take you to the top of a mountain, random mountains, but they understand the stability of the snow. Usually the snow is very soft, but they have a reputation of, if somebody, God forbid, gets really hurt on one of these trips, be very bad for their reputation,
Yeah.
because they're not cheap. These trips are very expensive, so their clientele is much higher. So they're actually very safe. So if anyone is like an intermediate, like almost an can do black diamonds, they should do it. It's like a like once in a lifetime, and hopefully multiple times in a lifetime experience.
So I've skied twice in my life, and both times where I only stayed in the beginning area. I tried it for like 30 minutes, and then I went to the ski resort and grabbed a beer, and that was about it. It's just not for me, man. But I do see how you could get a rush from being dropped off at the top of a mountain.
As I'm getting older, I'm like, when I was younger, it's all about skiing, and then like the beer comes after. Now the beer and opera ski is catching up to the actual ski.
I hear you, man. I hear you. But yeah, if you do a little bit of mountain biking and you want to get together one of the weekends, we go to Key Biscayne. So that's we could hit some black diamonds there.
For sure, the hills, love it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
Excellent, man. Yeah.
So I'm sure we could talk for hours. We have so much in common. Is there any like final questions that you think your listeners would want to know about the litigation process, or if they have a pending claim, what they should be looking for in this climate?
I mean, if they could hear from you that it's really not us that are the ones that are delaying the claims. In many cases, we're doing everything we can, but we have the other side that's also holding back. So we're pushing, but they're holding back. So if you could just talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. And we have the same explanation for the cases in litigation. Most of the time it's not us. Like, well, why haven't they offered money yet? It's like, well, we can't force them to pay. And like, well, they have to pay. They should have paid. And that's correct. But ultimately, if they decide not to pay, there's only one way to get paid, and that's a jury trial at the end of the day. If they refuse to pay, there's one way to get paid, and that's the jury trial. And right now, there's no jury trials going on.
Yeah.
But at least from what I know about Monarch, strike that. At least what I know about Monarch claims is they push their claims, and they're great at what they do. And if an insurance company blows the 90-day rule, if an insurance company does not want to cover a loss, if an insurance company underpays a claim, um, give your public adjuster enough time to negotiate and work with the insurance companies to get it done. Be patient, because at the end of the day, they don't get paid until you do.
Exactly.
And they want to settle it just as much as you want to settle it. They're partners in your claim, and they have no interest in delaying your claim.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell to clients.
I have a question for you. And
Yeah.
let's say that you have a client that has been in their claim has been in litigation for 2 years. Well, too much. Strike that. Too much.
Now you're sounding like a lawyer. Well, by the way, that's a direction for the editor.
I know. I hear that when I get crossed. Well, when the plaintiff's attorney, I'm in a depot. There's one of them that's always saying, strike that, and then he goes again. Anyway, so a client that has been in litigation for over a year, they have active leaks because they need to repair the roof. The insurance company has not paid. How do you persuade this client to continue to hold off for you to get them the highest possible amount for their damages?
Hold off on repairing the damage, you're saying?
Hold off on not accepting a lesser offer.
Okay. So there's various ways. Obviously, once you repair the damage, you're going to be stuck with the amount of money. And usually when you repair it, you're not going to pay as much. You're going to do whatever you have to do to stop the damage.
Exactly.
Whereas if you had an insurance settlement, you'll make sure you hire the best contractor to get your property back to pre-loss condition. So you're probably going to be cheap with yourself if you don't have an insurance settlement to resolve any damage. But remember, once you do that, you're going to be stuck with that amount in most instances in your settlement. So if your estimate says your roof's going to cost you 50 grand, but you hire somebody to replace the whole roof, inferior materials for 20 grand, even though you are entitled to your roof in pre-loss condition, it's going to be a much harder case, especially presented to a jury. They replaced it, they paid X, now they want Y. I digress, sorry. But there is an ending in litigation. And if your lawyer is doing the right thing, keeping you informed, if it's sitting for too long, setting the case for trial. Once a case is set for trial, there's an end date. Now the jury trials are a little bit different in Miami-Dade. I don't want to really, it would be another podcast talking about how the jury, before you would file a notice for trial, you would set the trial, different in Dade and Broward, and you would get a trial date. Now you have a case management order, have to abide by all the requirements, and then apply to get a trial date. So it's a little bit different now, but you still need to the lawyers still need to seek out a trial date, not in every case, but in cases that are sitting against insurance companies that like to drag their feet. That way you have an end in sight. And if your lawyer's doing the right thing, they're communicating with both your public adjuster and you, you should give the lawyer an adequate amount of time to get you what you should be entitled to under your policy.
Yeah.
That was a long-winded answer. Sorry.
No, it was good. It was good. I have a specific client that I spoke to recently that's in litigation, and she's considering taking, I think it's 65, but in reality, her claim is worth 92. And I had to practically beg her not to do that, because then she's just not going to have enough money. Even if I were to reduce my fee, which
who's a carrier?
I don't remember, man. I think it's Homeowner's Choice, maybe. I'm not sure. But I just sat there and just told her, please hold off. It's a significant amount. So I was just wondering what your approach would be for a client like, in that situation, to just make them realize that holding off will pay off. So, but
give them realistic timelines. And sticking to those deadlines. Say, if we can't get the offer up in X number of days or in 2 months, then you'll have the ability to accept it. But give me more time to get to the number that you need to be made whole.
Yeah, I agree. Brett, it's been a complete pleasure, man. I'm really glad
Likewise, buddy.
you reached out, and I hope to meet you soon in person once this whole COVID thing blows over. But we will talk more.
No, I'm happy to get a cup of coffee with you. But it's just like being around a lot of people. My wife would be. I have 2 young kids too. I
Gotcha.
get it.
Man, you really did your research on me. You said I have 2 young kids too, so that means I have 2 kids, right?
I do.
No, that's smart. That's smart. But anyway, so yeah, we'll get together. We'll talk again. Thanks again. Yeah, I think your information that you presented here will bring a lot of value to anybody that listens. So
Hopefully, won't get me in trouble with anyone else. No, I'm kidding.
Well, I mean, the only way that
I'm just speaking the truth. Speaking the truth.
The only way that I could get you in trouble is if they get upset that you're doing something better than they are. So,
yeah, I'm just kidding. and if you or anyone on your team has any questions, I'm happy to my cell phone number, give my cell phone number to you or to anyone to call me and ask me. I answer my phone 24/7. So. Thank you guys so much for watching.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. I know we've taken a little bit to, come back to and start doing these again. But we're back now. I really appreciate it again. Please subscribe. Please like what your comments mean a lot to us. So please make sure to leave them. Thank you. And until next time.